Hello, my dear friends. Welcome once again to this edition of Marriage Without Tears channel. Like always, today's edition is also a very exciting topic. We are looking at the 7 primary reasons why couples end up in the divorce court. Couples that started their marriage with a lot of fanfare, a lot of celebration, a lot of joy, a lot of excitement, inviting friends from far and near. Suddenly, all of a sudden, you find them heading to the divorce court. Most of them as enemies. It appears as if it has been a yoking together of some satanic entities. It's very, very funny. And I want you actually to please pay attention to this topic, because some of the things I'm going to mention is a product of several years of counseling and interacting with married couples from far and near. I've discovered some of these things, and if it is not taken care of in a marriage, it can spell doom for such a relationship. So I want you to actually pay attention. My name once again is Felix Okeke. I'm your marriage counselor and coach. And if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please do it immediately. There's a red button by my side. Once you click on it, you become a part of this awesome channel. What are the 7 issues that may, cause a marriage to go down the drain? The very first one is lack of effective communication. If as a couple you are always not there for one another in terms of understanding one another's views, in terms of understanding your goals and aspirations and expectations in life, in terms of communicating your values and principles, you don't pay attention, no rapt attention. You always half listening. You are not there for one another. You don't pay attention to the feelings and the ideals of one another. Then certainly a whole lot of distancing will begin to occur in your relationship. And before you know what is happening, you may be headed to divorce court. Because a marriage is a symbiotic relationship between 2 individuals who are working towards becoming one. And if you have to be one on the marital road, on the marital journey, certainly you need to understand one another at a deeper level. And this can only occur at the place of effective communication. So please communicate effectually. If you want to avoid this, learn to listen to one another's thoughts, one another's ideas, goals, visions. Learn to pay ultimate attention. Drop whatever you are doing. There's no need for half listening. There's no need to begin to do other things while you are seemingly paying attention. No, seek to understand one another. And when you understand one another deeper, your marriage becomes more enriched, and then the journey becomes easier. I can tell you that. This is also an opportunity for you to weigh the health of your marriage and see where you are defaulting. Because when it comes to communication, you may never know that your own is going down until one day you wake up and your partner is saying a different thing than what you are saying. And I believe that it will not be your own portion, to the glory of God. So please be there for one another. Pay attention to one another. It's very important. The second thing that may spell doom to a relationship is marital infidelity, unfaithfulness in marriage, taking on another person outside the boundaries of your marriage and going into a copulation, a conjugal relationship with such a person. It can spell doom to your marriage, because that is a betrayal of trust. And when trust is betrayed in a relationship, it is very, very difficult for you to recover such a trust. Very, very difficult. I've seen it happen many times over. A couple may say, okay, I have forgiven you, I will forget. But I can tell you that at the spur of the moment, the thought will come over. It will come back again. You never forget a betrayal of trust. It's very, very difficult to forget. So the only way to avoid this, if you are tempted in the place of your marriage, you are married and you are tempted, possibly there's somebody else you are admiring outside there, please knock your head and seek for counseling. You may need the involvement of a therapist. Or another way of also avoiding it is to develop a very, very wonderful way of meeting your spouse, developing intimacy at a deeper level. Begin to feel closer to your spouse again. Don't allow, because I have seen the issue of unfaithfulness in marriage, and it actually caused by a spouse not being there, not meeting the need of another. Because before it happens, there must be a need that is missing in that relationship, which that partner has found in another person outside the boundaries of marriage. So do whatever you can to develop a union that is filled with a lot of intimacy, a lot of love, a lot of companionship, a lot of compassion, a lot of kindness. Yoke together again. Be close to one another. Don't allow a gap, a crack to come between, so that that lizard will not crawl in and spoil what you are building together. Very, very important. That is what you ought to do. And of course, the third thing that can cause a major rift in a marital union is financial conflicts. When a couple don't have a joint understanding of how they are earning and how they are spending their income, it can bring a problem. I've seen it happen many times. You consider your husband or your wife as being a spendthrift, or as being extravagant, or as being so crafty with the way he uses his money. It appears to you as if you are the one that is making all the investments or all the expenses in the house, while he or she is busy spending her own. That can bring a lot of conflict. That can bring a lot of conflict. A couple need to sit back together and check their income, their strength, their income. They check how much they are bringing in and how much ought to go out. Some people, if you take a look at some of the earlier videos we did on couples finances, I want you to go back to our playlist. You will see a particular edition we did on financing, on money management between couples. You will see it where we explain a whole lot of things and how a couple can profitably manage their income. It's very, very important. If a couple doesn't have that understanding, there's the tendency for you as a partner to begin to feel either your wife or your husband is not doing what he ought to do with his finances. Anytime he reaches out to his in-laws, or reaches out to his friends, or reaches out to his brothers, you feel offended. It appears as if he's not carrying you along. But if you develop a form of budget that both of you share, and then know what both of you can spend at will without actually looking or obtaining the authority or the consent of the other, then it becomes easier for you to work as a couple. I have seen financial conflict tore a couple to shreds, and I want you, please, to take a look at your own wonderful relationship and see how you can, look at your finances and know how to work together as a couple, so that you fulfill what you have set out to do in marriage. Very, very important. You need to ask yourself, who is in charge of the rents? Who is in charge of children's school fees? Who is in charge of investment? Who is in charge of this? You have to articulate that. You have to, enroll all of that in your financial itinerary, so that you can work productively as a couple. I have seen it tear a marriage to pieces, and I don't want it to be your own portion, to the glory of God. If you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so immediately. There's a red button by my side. Click on it and get subscribed and be part of Marriage Without Tears channel. While we go to the fourth point. The fourth point actually is what I call marital incompatibility. Incompatibility. When a couple is incompatible. Sometimes it happens to a couple who entered into marriage without test running it. I must be very frank with you. There are couples who just met at very short notice. They didn't know one another's means. They didn't know one another's characters and characteristics. They were recommended by friends or even parents. They came together in what I may call arranged marriage. You can go back to an early edition we did on arranged marriage. They came together only for them to discover in the course of time that they have different ideals about life. They have different choices and goals. They have different expectations in marriage. And before you know it, if they are not properly managed, they don't know how to manage this conflict of interest, it may take them to the divorce court. But the ideal way to go about it, actually, if you discover you're already in marriage and you discover that both of you are incompatible, there is a way to go about it. Begin to attend marriage conferences, attend marriage seminars, seek for professional help, the help of a marriage therapist who is able to dissect whatever is going on and bring one or two things you can do together to achieve a certain level of compatibility. You can do it. You can do it. But I've seen people who failed to do this, and at the end of the day, they ended in divorce court. Don't tell yourself it cannot be done. It does not matter how incompatible you may be. There will always be an area of compatibility. If you hold onto that area, it becomes the area of your strength that can cause you to triumph in your marriage. Very, very important. I don't want you to lose sight of this. Please. Number 5 is what I call lack of intimacy and affection. lack of intimacy and affection, it has derailed a whole lot of marriages. You started with joy. You had your honeymoon, but the moment you came back from the honeymoon, the honey disappeared from the moon. I mean, it can cause a lot of tragic outcomes. If you are in marriage, there's a need for you to ensure that the intimacy level continues to grow instead of decline. No, it ought not to decline. Let the intimacy level continue to grow. Go to our earlier edition, study about how to become more intimate. Take your bath together, go out on an evening walk together. Have a set time set out where you can sit and then judge, where you can sit and lovingly communicate with one another. Go out for dinner. Take your spouse out on an outing. Take time out to, share intimacy, share intimate moments. If you have the required funding, you can go for a holiday, a vacation abroad. If you can't go abroad, there are so many places within your locality where you can set out together and have a good time. There are so many things you can do to create that intimacy level. But I have discovered that many couples, the moment they are out from the honeymoon, they get engaged in their business, they get engaged in their career to the detriment of their home and marriage, to the detriment of their relationship. I have seen people who took off, went on a foreign trip and never came back for years. It can destroy the best of marriages. So what you need to do, please create a way and a time. Check some of our videos, please. There are so many videos we have done on these things. Create the right intimacy with your spouse. Begin to enjoy yourselves. You are two working together as one. So don't walk as if you are still spinsters and bachelors. No. You are now two yoked together as one. You have a journey, and it's going to be a beautiful journey. You have a journey that at the end of the day, you are going to have children joining with you in that journey. It's a wholesome journey. And because of that, you need to create the right atmosphere, the right intimacy that will make all things to yield together and become joyful. So it's very, very important. Create that atmosphere. If you fail to do so, what will follow is a lot of distancing. Before you know it, one of the partners may find somebody outside of the boundaries of marriage where he or she can develop more intimacy, and that will be a terrible shame. It will be a destruction to your marriage. It ought not to be so. You have a wonderful husband, you have a wonderful spouse. Please come together, gel together, create the right atmosphere, and I can tell you that it will be wonderful in the end. I hope we are following. Please, as I'm saying these things, be doing a whole lot of assessment and reassessment of your marriage to see whether there are areas of default so that you can make the required amendments and see your marriage become glorious as time goes on. I told you I'm going to give you 7 points, so I have 2 points right now to give you, and we're through. The 6th point actually is unresolved conflicts. When you have unresolved conflicts in a marriage, it is like sweeping dirt under the carpet. You may feel that no, people are not seeing it, but I can tell you that after a few days or months, the dirt you are sweeping under the carpet will begin to show from the small hill that is coming up in that carpet. So as you are sweeping it under the carpet, certainly it will show sometime in the future. If you have a conflict in marriage, please, the easiest way out of it is to take care of that conflict as it is happening. A whole lot of people have swept their garbage under the carpets of their hearts. And they think these things are forgotten. But I can tell you, it is gradually ruining the root of your marriage. If you have a conflict in a marital situation, if you cannot solve it with your spouse immediately, please find time, look for a marriage therapist, sit with him, be invited together with your spouse so that you have a time to deliberate on this. Every person concerned will see the areas of default and then the areas to make amends. And I can tell you, the moment you sort it out, your marriage becomes more glorious. And when you meet another conflict, learn to solve it. And as you are solving it, sweep it off your mind. As you solve it, sweep it off your mind. Don't become like a goat that regurgitates everything they choose. No. In future, if there is any conflict, don't begin to bring back the rhythm of the past, all those negative. No. The offenses of the past are in the past. So learn how to resolve your conflicts amicably. If you can do so with time, I can tell you that your marriage will be on the upward swing. I can tell you that. Many marriages have gone down the drain because the spouses are remembering what happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 15 years ago. I know of a spouse that came to my office, and the woman was telling me what happened on the eve of their wedding. And I'm telling you of a marriage that is already 30 years old. And the woman was talking about what the partner did to her on the eve of their wedding. No, it's not to be. No. So learn how to take care of every conflict, because if it is unresolved, it is unresolved. And once it is unresolved, it can cause a death knell. It can become the death knell to your marriage. Please don't let it last. And then I will go to the seventh and final one. I will like to title this one Extenuating Circumstances. Circumstances that are sometimes beyond us. Something like the loss of a job. A man loses his job, can no longer fend for the family. The hardship bites so much that the wife decides, I can't take it any longer. Let me go out and fend for myself. It has happened to so many couples. I know of couples that got divorced as a result of illness. The woman discovered that her husband has HIV, and she feels, because before he contaminates me, before he gives me the shot or the dosage of it, I better walk away. After I'm not the one who gave him such a disease in the first place. So it has happened. I know of couples also that got divorced because the husband left, and for the next 10 years never came back from the US. And before you know it, the woman that was here in Africa began to feel, what am I waiting for? What am I actually waiting for? There's no children that are tied to the marriage, and I'm just waiting for a husband who just got married to me and took off. So this is a case of abandonment, and it has happened. I know in South Africa, for instance, abandonment is one of the biggest issues. So there are extenuating circumstances that can lead a couple to a divorce. But one thing I would like to say, like what Michelle Obama said some time ago while she was discussing about her challenges while the man was in politics. She said at the onset of his political journey, she actually wanted to leave him because she was facing a lot of loneliness, a lot of being left at home alone, and she could no longer cope with it. I wonder what could have happened if she had thrown in the towel and the man went ahead to become the president. But she didn't. Rather, she formed a support network. She took solace in a support network that ministered to her need and made the man's absence, very minimal. The effect became minimal, and she was able to overcome that challenge. What I would like to tell you, instead of leaving your husband because he became drunk, because he became this and that, or leaving your wife because something happened, why don't you form a support network? Why don't you see a way of ameliorating that condition, of seeking help outside, either a therapist or some people who are facing the same challenge, similar challenge, so that you can have a kind of support network that will help you overcome that challenge and then move along in your marital journey. If you can do that, you will have achieved great success. I thank God for actually taking out time to listen to this wonderful edition. My name once again is Felix Okeke. I love you. I love your marriage. If you can only pay attention to this channel, your marriage will become better and better as the years go by. Look at this red button once again, click on it, and get subscribed. Be part of our wonderful channel. And I look forward to seeing you next week. God bless you. Have an awesome time.